Okay, so hopefully this is going to be a fairly quick tutorial on using GeoGebra 4 to create dynamic text. Now there is a PDF tutorial on this. I'm not intending to follow that exactly, so between this video tutorial and the PDF tutorial you should have plenty of information. So let's first of all draw a right angle triangle. So segment and perpendicular line there. So there we've got a right angle triangle. Put the right angle in. Just going to adjust the size of that angle. Notice if I highlight one of the segments, so that's segment C, I might bring up the line thickness and put some color on that. So you can see I've colored those three sides and adjusted some line thickness. Let's now show label on each side, on each segment. So what I can do, if I hold Control or Command on a Mac or Control on a PC, and click each of these segments, then go to Basic, I can show label, so show name and value, and then what I'm also going to do is bring my font size up to 20. Now as you can see, I've written the term Pythagoras' theorem because that's the first thing we're going to look at, and I've increased the size of that text to medium. I'm now going to add another piece of text, which will be a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Roots and fractions, x to the a, so I want to change the x to a and the a to 2, and you can see what's happening down the bottom. And then put the cursor to the right of those brackets and choose again. Put in the addition sign and then press OK. Again, object properties, text, small to medium, because I want that a little bit larger. Now that's where we're heading towards. I'm going to use that later. Okay, now we're getting close to making some progress. So here's the title. This is where we're heading towards, but what I'm going to do is explore a squared plus b squared dynamically and then explore c squared dynamically, and we'll see that both values are the same, therefore we can say this. Now in order to put in these values, we're going to need to have these values in the algebra window. Oh, before we do that, notice that this is D. What we can simply do is rename that to B, and there it is. Anyway, what we need is an a squared. So what I'm going to do is just simply put a squared and see that that comes up as D. If we now put in b squared, we can see that's going to come up as E. We just need to remember these. And then c squared will come up as F. So we know that we've got A, B and C here, and then D is A squared, E is B squared, F is C squared. And if we're not sure, we can just highlight the value and see what each one is. We're going to need that for our formula shortly. The other thing we're going to need is a squared plus b squared, and we know that's G. This will all become very obvious in a minute. So let's explore this a squared plus b squared. I'm going to right click on this. Remember to initiate this I've used the text box, but now that we've already started a text box, we can simply choose edit. So what I'm going to do is press enter. The $2 signs help to keep everything in lines, which is what we want. In my next line, I want equals the live value of a squared plus the live value of b squared. So I need to use my little x to the a value again. Now the x value is going to be the live a value, which is over here, and that little fellow is going to be a squared. Then I need to put the plus sign, then I go to this x to the a again, and this time the x is going to be the b value, and the a is going to be the squared value. In my next line, I want, again, my two dollar signs equals, and this time I want the value of a squared plus b squared, which I'm pretty sure was G. Let's just wait. There it is. So I just press G, and I think we're done. Now the only thing we need to do now is to line things up a little bit. So that would probably do it. Let's just have a look at it, and I'm pretty happy with that. So same thing with c², and next line $signs equals, and then we want the value of c², which I think is the f. Yes, it is. And again, we want a little bit of lining up. Put the cursor before the first set of $signs, and I think we're right. So what have we got now? When we move the triangle, we can see the values change, but the a² plus b² is always the same as the c², and hence we can say this little expression down here is true. So that's what I'm talking about when I refer to this as dynamic text, because the text moves with the diagram, hence it's dynamic. So if we look what I've done now, I've added the angles of B and C and coloured them and written a text box with angle sum equals A plus B plus C. If I right click and edit, you'll see that I'm using LaTeX formula. So we come down to the next line. I've already got the $signs in there plus the equals. So we want the dynamic value of A. A is actually alpha. So I'm going to want to put in alpha in there, plus sign. Now I want B. Now B is angle gamma. So there's B. Plus, and angle C will be beta. So this will give us our dynamic values, and then $signs again. And now we want the sum of alpha plus beta plus gamma. And again, we need to enter that into the algebra window. So the way to do that, press the alpha sign, alpha, plus, once again, look for beta, and plus gamma. Enter. So surprise, surprise, 180 degrees. Let's go back to our formula. We need an equal sign, and then we choose our value for 180 there. And let's have a look at it. Oh, that's not too bad. We might want a space between the angle and the sum. And the way we do that, there is actually a, here I saw, there is actually a space. But what happens there is just, it's a backslash and a colon. Now see what happens. Alright, pretty cool. Let's show you that you don't have to use that space. If we were to do that, here it is again, without the space. Let's do that manually. So backslash, colon. So either way. Anyway, that's all good. If we move point C, we can see that it does change, and regardless, we're getting 180 degrees. That covers the basic principles of generating dynamic text with GeoGebra 4. The PDF tutorial will give you a few other tips as well. The main thing is that you need your sums and products and squares and so on over here in the algebra window so that you can select them. Obviously, this opens up a lot of avenues for creativity and for conceptual understanding for students, because you can really show how and why formulas work. Have fun with that.